So today I'm going to try my hand at a tutorial, and I have no idea how it's going to turn out, so just bear with me. I'm going to be talking a bit about how to do one of the classic Hightower jumps, the Stair-Slide. Now, I get this question all the time. How do you slide up those stairs? How are you even sliding on those? How does that make sense? What the hell is going on here? Well, I'm not going to claim to know exactly how it works, but I can show you how I learned to do it, and hopefully that can help you as well. Now, before we move on, I'm going to assume that you already know the basics of rocket jumping, like jump, crouch, shoot, how to air strafe, not holding W when you're in the air, things like that. If you have no idea what I just said, then I'd highly recommend going and watching Nate Fox's basic jumping tutorial. He explains rocket jumping better than I ever could, and it's really important that you have a basic grasp on the fundamentals of rocket jumping before you move on to more advanced jumps like these. As much as I'd love to say you can just spend a few minutes practicing and then be sliding and flying all over Hightower, it just doesn't work like that. In fact, I'm still learning how to do these things as well. So yeah, now that that's out of the way, let's get started. Okay, so first let's talk a bit about how ramp sliding works. Oh, wait, hold up, Soundsmith, stop. Ramp sliding? Wait, those are stairs, right? Well, not exactly. It's actually just a ramp that looks like a set of stairs. You can understand this better if you've played the Halloween variation of this map called Hightower. If you look where these stairs were, you'll notice that it's actually just a ramp. Aside from some different texturing, these two are exactly the same. So, back to ramp slides. As far as I know, it's an old quirk with the Source engine where hitting a sloped surface at a certain angle and going over a certain speed will make you slide up the surface instead of walking along it. This is also the basic principle behind tripping and to a certain extent surfing. It's also why you can dive up a staircase in double action boogaloo. It's just Source being weird. So most times when you ramp slide, you want to be hitting the slope head on and going pretty fast. So, for each jump, it's really just about building up enough speed and positioning yourself so that you hit the slope head on. Everything after that is really easy, but I'll go over that in a second. Now, I'm sure there are some exceptions to this rule, but I've found that those two things work for most situations and pretty much all the sliding jumps on Hightower. So, now let's talk about the Stair-Slide itself. This jump in its most basic form has 3 steps. First, you jump off of this crate right here. Then you shoot a rocket at your feet when you reach the base of the stairs, and then finally you shoot a third rocket at your feet when you reach the top of the stairs. If all goes well, this should send you flying and help you to reach the top of the Hightower, or really any other place on Red's side. So for this jump, the first rocket is by far the most important. Your goal for this jump is to reach the base of the stairs and be going reasonably fast. Notice that going too far will make it so that your second rocket won't carry your momentum over, and if you don't make it all the way, you risk having your second rocket not take you onto the ramp, which means you'll just land on the ground at the base of the stairs and look pretty silly. Now, it's worth noting that sometimes you can salvage the jump if you go too short or sometimes too far, but it's still ideal to land at the base of the stairs. To actually perform the jump, rocket placement is fairly important. I usually aim slightly down and to the side, and that usually works pretty well. It's worth noting that you can also jump off the front of the crate as well as the side. I'm not exactly sure how that affects the jump since they're both really similar. Just use whichever one you're more comfortable with. Next, your obstacle is going to be this big rock pile right here. You're going to have to strafe to the left in order to position yourself in front of the stairs, but strafing too quickly will send you either into or on top of these rocks, which will just stop you dead in your tracks. This is one of those things where I can't give you exact timings, you really just have to get a feel for it yourself. Now, I realize that that's kind of a cop-out, but that's really just the best advice that I can give for this part. You just gotta do it yourself. Now, one huge problem that I see a lot is people will hold W for too long. Now, hold up. I know that most of you who are still here know that holding W in the air is a big no-no, but I'm not just talking about that. A lot of people will try to jump off this crate while still holding W, and that's actually very detrimental to the jump. Notice how you're positioned right before you jump. When you're looking towards the crate to shoot off of it, your whole character is facing the crate as well. This means that if you're holding W at this point, you're actually just walking straight into the crate, not forward. This effectively means that your character is standing still and you won't get any extra momentum from your running start. This means you won't go as far and you often won't reach the bottom of the stairs at all. Instead, what you want to be doing is holding the A key right before you jump. So now, instead of going into the crate, you keep moving in the same direction, giving you more speed, which, as we talked about before, is very important for this jump. What I'd recommend that you do is practice this jump on its own before moving on. Try to get to where you can consistently land at the base of the stairs while moving reasonably fast. Once you've got that down, let's move on to the second step. Now, the second rocket is surprisingly easy. If you land at the base of the stairs, just shoot a rocket at your feet, and it should send you sliding up the stairs like this. Most of the time, you're not going to mess this jump up. If you end up stopping in your tracks like this, it was likely a problem with your first jump, not your second. The third and final rocket is just as easy. Just shoot a rocket at your feet when you reach the top of the stairs, and you'll go flying. Once you're in the air, it's really up to you where you want to go. Most of the time, you'll strafe towards the Hightower, and that's great. You'll be moving nearly parallel to the platform at the top, meaning you'll have plenty of time to hit anybody who happens to be up there with your shovel. However, it's important to mix up your jumps every now and then. Being successful on Hightower, especially when trolgering, is all about being unexpected. If you realize a trolger is coming and you understand how to counter them, it's very easy to get away or even kill them. So, I'm going to go over some variations of the classic Stair-Slide so that you can be more unexpected. Now, first of all, it's worth noting that Hightower is a mirrored map, so pretty much every jump you can do can be recreated on the other side. However, I realize that many people will have trouble with mirroring their wall jumps since the rockets come out of the right side of the screen, so if you try and jump on the other side, that throws everything off. So if you want to do the Stair-Slide on blue side without having to jump off of something on your left, I would recommend starting here. It's effectively the same thing as the jump on red side, since you strafe to the left in both cases. The only difference is that your obstacle is on the right side instead of the left. Now, interestingly enough, this actually makes the jump easier since you don't risk strafing too quickly and ending up on these rocks. So moving on, a lot of people like to use the Stair-Slide jump to reach the battlements on red side. Snipers stand there a lot, which means that most of the time it's free food for your strange market gardener, which is great. However, this jump is very risky because of one huge weakness that it has: this sightline. Any sniper who has two brain cells to rub together and realizes that you're coming will be able to take your head off before you even start the jump, no problem. So, here are a couple of ways to get to red battlements without putting yourself right in the sniper's sightline. The first jump is one that I like to call over the hill. It's fairly similar to the classic Stair-Slide, but you start in a different place. You can start over on this wall and then pogo off the top of the hill. Then you strafe in between these two rocks and place yourself at the base of the stairs. Once you reach this point, it's exactly the same as the classic Stair-Slide. 2 rockets at your feet, and you're on your way. Now, the reason this jump is slightly safer than the other one is because of where you start. If you look at your starting position from the red battlements, you'll notice that snipers don't actually have a sightline to your position because of this platform right here. This means that the only times he'll be able to see you is once you get over the hill and are moving towards the stairs, or once you go flying and are heading towards him at full speed. So, unless he's already expecting you, or he's just insane, you'll be fine. And if he is that insane, well then why are you coming at him with a shovel? Now, one more thing. Keep in mind that this jump takes up all 4 of your rockets, which means that you'll have to reload before you can jump away. There's one more Stair-Slide that takes you to red battlements that I've always called the scenic route. This one starts off like the classic Stair-Slide on blue's side of the map. This is very useful because the sniper's sightline will be broken by this set of rocks right here. So, you do the classic Stair-Slide, but instead of landing on the top of the Hightower, shoot another rocket at your feet to send yourself flying towards the battlements. Note that if you're going really fast, you might need to aim slightly higher with the last pogo, so that the rocket explodes under your feet rather than behind you. This is nice since the sniper will only be able to see you once you come around this corner, and at that point, you're already coming at him at Mach 5 with a shovel, so like I said, you're probably good. Now, one last thing to remember is that you don't have to do all of these jumps exactly like I told you. Don't be afraid to get creative with these. So I've done the best I can to break down this jump into its parts and explain it. That being said, there's really no better way to learn than to practice. I would highly recommend loading up an empty Hightower map and just practicing it. Maybe join an empty community server if you want to try with a friend or something. When I first learned this jump, I had to work at it for hours just to get a general idea of what I was doing. So don't get frustrated if you can't get it at first. Learning these things is all about patience. And again, I know that sounds like a cop-out, but unfortunately, that's really just how it is. So yeah, go hit the lab and nail that shit. Here's hoping we'll see a few more crazy flying patriots sliding around Hightower in the near future.